What's up, guys? My name is Brad, and this is going to be my series of Borderlands 2 class ideas. For the most part, it will be classes anyways. Borderlands is going to be coming out pretty soon, so I thought, heck, I may as well get this out later than... I've actually heard that they will be releasing DLC characters for download, which I think is pretty cool. So, I mean, even if the game came out, I could still do this stuff later than never. So I'm going to jump into some information, like some things that I think would be cool to add or change, and then some element types, and then I have 8 classes that are like the specialist, the tank, the medic, the soldier, the robot, the engineer, the hunter, and the siren. And then I'm just going to go through all of their like skill trees, and that's it. And I hope you enjoy what I have to say. So first of all, I want to jump into the info. I think elements should be replaced with bullet types. That way it's like, I know in Borderlands 1, I could pick up a really cool freaking weapon, but it was like, oh man, the element kind of sucks. But it's a good gun, so I feel like if, the elements are actually bullet types that you can change, then you wouldn't actually have to, like, discard it and then look for something else. I think weapons should be able to be upgraded with attachments, mods, and other alterations. So like a suppressor, dot sights, extended mags, anything, if like, Battlefield and Call of Duty, you can upgrade your guns with so many things, but I think Borderlands should do it too. But with Borderlands, you don't have to worry about balancing issues because it's not, player versus player. So you can put on crazy shit, like, I don't know, maybe heat-seeking grenade launchers. Doesn't matter what it is, but I think that'd be really cool. Cars and characters could be customizable, so like, instead of like, that default car in Borderlands 1 with the machine gun on it that was absolutely worthless, you were better off just pissing on enemies or something like that. You could upgrade it for, maybe a better targeting machine gun. Maybe you could give it more speed, better tires. Let's say the tires could be popped when enemy shot them. We'll upgrade them, make it so they don't pop when people shoot them. Give it a better boost, give it more speed, better handling, anything like that. The cars should also have a better control scheme, I think, too, because in Borderlands 1, they're kind of lame. I mean, they drove the direction you were facing, and I feel like there's kind of no reason why they couldn't do, like, what 90% of racing games do out there, like the R2 button to gas, L2 to reverse, and whatnot like that. And the character customization, like, I feel like in Borderlands 1, it's like you get the character, right? And you change the color and the name. That was it. But I think it'd be cool if you could either make your character male, female, change the name, whatever, doesn't matter. And then customize hair, their face, their clothing, anything really. I think there should be a mini-map in the top left, in any shooter. I think that should not be absent from in any shooter. You can have complete button remapping. I know in Borderlands, I did not like the fact that R2 shot. I wish it was R1. I'm a PlayStation guy. I know the buttons are like flip-flopped on the Xbox, but whatever, I'm just gonna say what I use. I think you should be able to crawl and aim down sight when you are down, because maybe they did it for a reason, but I don't know, maybe you could even put it in as a skill somewhere. But I think it'd be nice if we can crawl and be and go and aim down sight while we're down, because it's kind of a pain in the ass trying to hip fire a guy who he downed me and then he runs away like a little Frenchman or something like that. And why can't we aim? I mean, we already have to deal with like the crappy like angled character position, so aiming is more difficult as it is, as opposed to already not being difficult or whatnot. So I think the element types now, we all know about shock, it destroys shields. We all know about corrosive for destroying armor, and fire for burning flesh, and explosive rounds to hurt nearby enemies and such. But I think it'd be cool to add ice element bullet types. This will slow down enemies. I was really thinking hard of what some new elements could be, but I guess, I couldn't really think of anything other than, something to slow enemies down. Because for a bullet type, you want it to do something that's unique, but not share a quality of different elements. So, yeah. So right now, I actually want to jump into the specialist. I have it so that each class has like a starting bonus, and then they like each starting bonus is their own starting bonus, and no one else has it. And then there's three types of tier things. You know, you have your berserk skill tree, which is like stuff that affects your. Well, actually, it's called the starting skill, the action skill, the special skill, whatever you want to call it. But for all intents and purposes, I'm going to call it the berserk because in all my days of playing Resistance 1 and 2 and barely any of 3, I didn't really. That game was a little disappointment for me. I just been accustomed calling like these special abilities that you activate every now and then berserk. So that's what I'm going to be calling it. So just bear with me here. I think it would be nice though if each class could have different starting berserk things. But for this case, I have it so that the berserk tree is accustomed to this actual starting berserk that they have. I mean, there could be different things, whatever. And the other skill tiers are like player. This affects your player, really. And then there's the arsenal one. This can affect like your melee and then your guns in general. So some of the skills can overlap, but yeah, that's how I got it. So the specialist, he has or I should say, it starts with 10% more damage with SMGs, 10% more damage with explosives, and you can capture human shields by like holding the melee button or something like that. I don't know what else it could be. And the berserk is an airstrike, so you can just like wherever you're looking when you activate it, it'll just call in an airstrike. Maybe it could be the equivalent of like a predator missile, so like it's not like the end all be all type of thing when you go to like a boss fight. Oh, it's raining down the storm of shitballs and fire hell. So maybe it could be like one explosive or something, I don't know. And then maybe you could just add more later. So the first thing in the berserk skill tree is block. This can generate a shield around you during your airstrike. It will give you plus 15% resistance to enemy damage, and will give you immunity to your own airstrike. Oh, and keep in mind, every skill has 5 levels, just like the first game. I'm not sure what they're doing with the skills in Borderlands 2, but I mean, I don't see why they would change them. And then there's stun. Enemies hurt by your airstrike, they'll be slowed down by plus 20%. And I'm going to be saying plus or minus depending on what skill it is. And that's because every time you level it up, you know, it's going to add the same amount to it per level. Atom, this will lead to 10% bigger airstrike explosions, plus 5% electrical damage, plus 10% explosive damage, but just with the airstrike, not like to your character in general. Next one is Shock. This will decrease enemy resistances by plus 20% when they are hurt by the airstrike. Recycle will decrease the cooldown of your berserk by plus 2 seconds. Protection will make it so that each ally will be covered by a shield, and this will stuttering and shit. So each ally will be protected by a shield, and they'll regain plus 10% lost health during your berserk. And then the bomber skill is plus 1 bomb drop for the airstrike. So instead of just 1, you know, you can end up getting 5 later on. And the next skill tree is player. So the first one's armored. This will increase your fire and explosive resistance by 5%. Torch will increase fire and explosive damage by 5%, so they're like polar opposites. You know, choose which you will. Speed will increase your movement speed by plus 7%. Assassin will negate fall damage, and you'll take less melee damage by 15% as well. Dodge will make it so that you have a plus 3% chance that an enemy attack will miss you completely. Guard will make it so that human shields have plus 20% more health. And the Mayor skill will make it so that everything you buy is 10% cheaper, and you will lose 20% less money from dying. So that eventually, when you max this out, you probably won't lose any money at all. Now, I know in Borderlands 1, you know, you could become super rich, where it's like you die, and really the money doesn't even matter at that point. But I think, because I don't like losing money, regardless, in any game, in any fashion, even if I can afford it, so I think that would just be like a nice little bonus for it. And now into the arsenal skill tree. The first one is Blade. This will replace your gun butt melee with a knife, and this will increase damage by plus 7%. Grip will make it so that you have 5% less recoil with SMGs, because this character's more of an SMG-based type of thing. Slayer will replace melee with a sword for a longer range, and it will increase melee damage by 15%. And I've been thinking, like, let's say you didn't get the first melee thing that would give you a knife. Like you could, and let's say you got Slayer, so you get the sword and stuff. And if you later decided to get the knife thing, it wouldn't get rid of your sword for the knife. It would stack the damage that you would get from the perk itself. And Marksman, you'll get 10% less recoil and sway on all weapons. Impact will allow you to shoot through +1 enemies. Silent but deadly, this will make it so all guns you use are automatically suppressed, but only if you use them. Like if you drop it and a teammate or an ally gets it, it's not going to be suppressed anymore unless they actually like put it on the gun or something. So all guns will be suppressed, and you do 20% more damage when you're shooting an enemy in the back or hurting them in the back in general. And then the last one is Precision. This will give you +10% accuracy, +10% faster ADS speed, +10% chance for a shot to have no recoil whatsoever. So when you max that out, it could actually be rather beneficial. So that's actually going on almost 11 minutes now, so I'm going to cut it off here, and I'm going to start off with the next class, guys.